It's Action Jackson, and I'm back with another episode of Client Success Stories. Today, I'm joined by Mike. Mike did an unbelievable, awesome job. He crushed the 16-week program, losing 31 pounds, 7% body fat, and another 6 inches off his waist. From the photos, definitely looks like he gained a little bit of muscle as well. Mike, welcome to the program. Unbelievable results. Why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Mike. I've cared about fitness my whole life, but I've never really been able to completely commit to a program. Always tried my best. I'm a musician, so I'm on stage a lot. I'm constantly in front of people, and it was really important for me to be comfortable in the way I looked, the way I felt, the clothes I wore and everything. So yeah, I was looking for a change, and all started with getting the Tonal, which I loved. Loved the piece of machinery, loved the way it worked, but I wasn't seeing the results that I wanted to see. It wasn't really working the way I wanted it to work, but I loved your programs that you had on it. So I reached out, and I guess the rest is history, as they say.
That's certainly one way of saying it. You definitely have got a change, and a significant one, based on the photos and obviously the numbers. So obviously getting the Tonal, it's amazing, right? It's so convenient. It just makes it so much easier to be able to train consistently. And for a lot of people, that removes the one of the obstacles from training regularly. So that's certainly one hurdle that you were able to overcome. But we're seeing the type of results that you wanted. That often for most people comes down to combining the training with the nutrition, adding in a little bit of mindset, and then throwing in some accountability, gas on the fire to really stoke things up. But you mentioned something there that I want to go back to. You said, I always felt like I struggled to commit to a program. Why is that?
So I think the biggest reason for me was confidence in the program itself. There's so much information on the internet. There's so much information from other people at the gym. Everybody has their ideal of what a workout program should look like, what a diet program should look like. And I was just going from thing to thing, trying thing to thing without really diving in and committing long term, because I don't think I really had the confidence or faith in anything that I was researching. It always seemed to kind of let me down long run. Part of that was watching the scale a little too hard. One of the things I noticed in this program was it wasn't just a straight, decline in weight. It was up and down. It still is at this point, but the trend was down. And I think becoming more comfortable with the trend as opposed to looking for immediate results really kind of like blew my mind apart. I was just like, oh, okay, like I can commit to this. I can keep doing it. And even if tomorrow I don't lose 2 pounds, week 2, week 3, week 4, I started like seeing the results more and more, which kind of snowballed into more faith in the program, more confidence into what was going on. And now the idea of stopping is just like foreign to me. I couldn't even imagine going back to what I was doing before this.
Yeah, it could be a vicious cycle one way or the other, positively or negatively. And right now you're in a positive spiral, which is really, really unbelievable and awesome. And confidence in the program is so important. And I hear this so many times from so many people who join our program who just struggle similarly to you. So much information, head turning every which way. Everybody's contradicting each other and trying to get attention. What do I believe? How do I know what to actually do and implement? And who do I trust? And that can be very difficult for a lot of people. Speaking from myself, just from a business coaching perspective, I've struggled there too, because you could find out on the internet how to build a great business, how to do coaching, how to do all these things. But who do you trust to actually follow? Because if you don't have confidence in the plan, you're not going to put the effort level in that you need to see results. So confidence is going to be a major portion of it. Of course, you want sound scientific strategy. You want things that are going to fit into your lifestyle. But without that confidence, even the perfect plan is going to go unexecuted or not executed to the level needed to see results. What gave you confidence in this program or in me, or like, where did that confidence come from to start? Like, how or why did you have confidence in us?
So I would say the biggest thing would be, I believe you call it reverse dieting. Um, it was increasing the calories little by little each week, changing that and making those changes really helped, because I think before with the dieting, I was like, I'm going to stick to this and this forever, and I'm never going to change that. And it's just, when you really think about it, that's absolutely impossible to do. To just eat the exact same amount of calories, same macros, whatever you want to call it, in perpetuity. So I think that was one of the things that, okay, I looked forward to the next phase. I looked forward to the next set of macros. I looked forward to the next set of workouts. So that kind of helps a lot, honestly, rather than just doing, okay, I'm going to do 20 bicep curls today, and then I'm going to do it next week, and then I'm going to do it the week after that. Or I'm going to eat this exact same amount of food every day, or the exact same thing every day. So I think the change in being able to, still have cheat days once watching my friends and maybe people say, I'm not going to eat carbs ever. I'm not eating carbs. And for me to be able to have like the brown rice and the breads and stuff and everything else that I really looked forward to and love eating, without feeling like I was cheating or messing anything up or like taking a giant step backwards. I think that was the biggest thing for me for sticking with it.
That's awesome. And so it sounds like, if I'm hearing you right, that it was the productivity or the proactivity around what we were doing with the nutrition specifically that gave you confidence in the plan. So instead of just being like, oh, here's your macros or here's what you got to do and just follow it forever or follow it until, it was us being more proactive of saying, all right, this is what we're going to execute on. This is what we're hoping to see. And then if this happens, then we move to that next thing. So it was being more proactive and just thinking ahead with the strategy that we were using from a nutritional perspective that gave you the confidence in it to follow. Then because you had the confidence, you executed at a high level. Because you executed at a high level, then you got better results, which then kind of just spun itself up. And now it has the snowball effect and, get wins build upon wins. So that's what I'm hearing there. And then in terms of cheat meals or having, other foods and not being so restrictive and all those things, how did you manage that? Because with a lot of people, and, we have some clients who are very restrictive, who they can't have a cheeseburger or a donut or a cookie or even one drink because it turns into 10. So we do have a small minority of clients who do fall into that bucket. But the majority of them fall into the bucket where we try to get people to live with moderation. That's certainly how I live now. I like pizza once a week at least. I'm going to the movies tonight. I'm going to have some popcorn with my wife for sure. I like dessert. I have dessert almost every single day. Now, it's a matter of, though, planning those things into the diet, preparing for those things, making it part of the plan so that it doesn't sidetrack you. How did you include these things as part of the plan so it didn't spiral out of control like most people?
I think your specific guidance on how to attack the cheat meal and or cheat day really spoke to me, saying, okay, listen, you can have an entree, you can have an appetizer, you can have a dessert. Stop it after that. Like, just, there's no reason to. I think there was a time where I took a break for a week in the program, and you said there's no reason to have the large ice cream. You stop tasting it after a while. The pleasure that you get from eating that disappears, and it just becomes guilt and something that you don't really enjoy. You're just doing it for the sake of doing it because you feel like you're getting away with it because it's your cheat day. And then you're kind of just left feeling disappointed that you made that decision. So yeah, that really just like thinking about that when I went to reach for the next thing. And I think another word I loved that you used was domino foods. Keeping those out of the house. Keeping anything like sleeves of Oreos, chips, crackers, stuff like that I could easily just sit and before I started the program, just churn through an entire box of those, no problem, watching TV or doing whatever else. Eliminating all the temptation and having those out of the house helped a lot too with sticking with it. But I loved planning. I never thought I would love planning. I'm not a huge planning type of guy, And I had the, the MyFitnessPal app, and I was going through and saying, oh, well, I can have this, I can have this, I can balance it out with this, I can make a pretty cool meal. And it became a little bit more fun and exciting building what I was eating, as opposed to just consistently making bad decisions and just grabbing whatever's next to me or stopping at whatever fast food restaurant was on the way home, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. So I love that, being able to work things in and then really shifting your perspective on things. And psychology plays such a big role in this, especially when it comes to the nutrition, more so than people think. They think of, oh, I just have the perfect diet, or if I know what macros I'm supposed to eat, then I'm going to follow it. But that's really not true. Most people are not going to follow it, even if they know, because there's so much psychology going on in their minds, right? And then there's also all these cues and indicators in their environment. And then you go out into the world and everybody and everything is telling you to eat more, eat more, eat more. And then foods are engineered to bypass your satiety signals. And they have these really smart engineers who are doing this. So how do you manage all that? And that's going to be psychology. That's going to be your environment, setting that up for success. And how do you shift your perspective and how you think about things? And that's a major part of what we do, especially from a nutritional perspective. And I'm so glad that you were able to embrace that and make those changes, because those are things that are going to help you for the long term, forever. Those are things that aren't going to leave you. And when you can adopt them and you can identify with them, more importantly, now it becomes easy. So that's fantastic. I love that. And also what you said about planning. And so few people want to put in any time planning, but there's an old saying that says, for every minute of planning that you do, you save 10 minutes later. And if you just think about this from a time perspective or a food perspective or any perspective, I'm rereading the book 168 Hours right now by Laura Vanderkam. And what an unbelievable, fantastic book that is for anybody who thinks that they don't have enough time to exercise or to do whatever or get things done. Just read that book. The subtitle is You Have More Time Than You Think. And she says there's 168 hours in the week. She's like, if you sleep for 8 hours a night, you work 40 or even 50 hours a week, you have like 70 something hours remaining to do all these other activities. And you could plan it out and you could have a 2-hour commute and time for TV and all this stuff. And you go, holy cow, there's all these hours in the day. Where are they going? And that's just a matter of planning. And when you plan your days appropriately, time box, use your calendar, do these things. Oh my God, it opens up so much time. It's funny, but I mean, it's a bit Jocko Willink here, but it's the discipline to do the planning that gives you the freedom. So if you have the discipline to do a little bit of planning with your, and I don't even like the word diet, but with your eating plan, your nutritional plan, your nutritional lifestyle, well, now that opens up the doors and gives you a lot of freedom to be able to include things, pizza, popcorn, desserts, and other things, because now it becomes part of the plan. You work it in. Now you're not feeling guilty. Now you're not spiraling out of control. You're not going overboard. You're just executing the plan and the system that you created. And you're like, gosh, I just had dessert. Yes, awesome, because it's part of the plan. So, well, the next question is, what obstacles did you face? So, I mean, we're talking about a lot of good stuff, a lot of great changes. Stats are unbelievable. The photos are great. What were some of the things that you faced that were challenges that you had to overcome, and how'd you do that?
So I would say I started the program the absolute worst time of year you could start this program. Essentially the day before Thanksgiving. So I had Thanksgiving, Christmas parties, birthday parties, events, Christmas parties that I was performing at with food that was prepared by anyone and everybody. It was just so much. There was just so much to avoid. I really had to just like keep my head down, focus, and push through not drinking, which is something I'm very used to especially during that time of year. I mean, Christmas and all those holidays. But also not eating, not picking up all the hors d'oeuvres, the foods, everything that's out. And it's just like, it's all about abundance that time of year. So just avoiding making those decisions, that was a huge obstacle for me. But I was able to do it with minimal cheats. Weird enough, the workouts, I didn't really have that hard of a time completing those. I looked forward to them. They were difficult. They were challenging. They were not easy. But it was like I had this mindset and mentality the entire time that what am I doing to move forward, to progress? And anytime I wasn't feeling like I was progressing, I would fill that time with something that would include like meal planning or include going for a walk or doing anything but an unhealthy behavior, and just trying my best. For sure, I slipped up a couple times. But even after those slip ups, like I took a vacation to Disney for a week. Um, and the workout that I had when I got back from that trip was the absolute hardest thing I've ever done ever, as far as fitness goes. I was having no problem finishing those, and that first day back absolutely like shook me how difficult it was. But stuck with it, got back into it, got back on the train, and things started getting easier. And I learned that, okay, this is what happens when you take a break. This is what happens when you don't do a workout. When you, it's going to become that much harder, that more difficult to. So sticking with it is almost easier at that point because I wanted to see that progress. I wanted to keep going. The other obstacle is I work a manual labor job. I work outside. It's a seasonal job. So when I started the program, I had a fairly easy time having the energy to do this. But once I started working 8-10 hour days in the sun, I was really afraid that my energy was going to dip down and I wasn't going to complete that stuff. I ended up just being able to do it, just doing it, just literally coming home and starting my playlist, getting into the warm-ups. I used like some yoga playlists and some like almost like the kind of stuff they play at massage like places to just really kind of like center, concentrate, feel comfortable, feel relaxed, and ease myself into the workout, and then turn on the hard rock when I got into the actual phase program and ripped through it. And I always just felt really good at the end. So
That's
just
awesome.
got me coming back. Yeah.
So that's future pacing, thinking about how am I going to feel at the end of this, and then using that feeling to get started, knowing that if you do it, you're going to feel good at the end. So a little bit of future pacing there, which I love. I use that all the time. You can use it both for feeling good and also for negative feelings, meaning, God, I want that third drink, but how am I going to feel after that third drink? And how am I going to feel tomorrow morning? Well, I'm probably going to be a little hungover. I'm going to be dehydrated. I'm not going to feel good. I'm going to feel guilty and bad that I had the third drink. That could lead to me ordering some fries or staying out too late, not getting my workout in. I'm just going to stick with the two I had. I'm good. I'm going to have water after this. So you could use future pacing to influence a positive behavior or stop you from doing a negative behavior. So I love that. Also, workout rituals. So few people have these workout rituals where they play specific music or playlist or something only when they work out to cue them to get into that mindset. Now, athletes do this stuff all the time. You see Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls in the 90s, what time is it? Game time. Woo, they got the song. They got all this stuff that gets them all in the mood, gets them in the mindset to go, even gets fans excited, right? When I listen to the Bulls opening song, God, I get excited. I want to go run through a wall. But very few people use those things for themselves. Those cues can work for you too. So having a workout ritual is absolutely critical. And again, audio cues, maybe some visual cues, some movement cues to get you going and get you started. Now, let's go back though to the thing that you mentioned about timing. So again, most people, it's the holidays. Oh gosh, I can't start something new now. It's Thanksgiving, it's Christmas. I need to wait until the new year, or it's my birthday, it's this, it's that. Truth is, there's never going to be a perfect time. The only time to get started is now, and work around those things. The holidays are going to come up every single year. Christmas and Thanksgiving, they happen every 12 months, like clockwork. Whether you're here or not, they're going to happen. So you have to figure out how to work around those things anyway. So no time like the present. But what was your mindset going into that? Why did you start then? And then the follow-up on that would be, you had all these sort of distractions or these sort of temptations. And how did you manage that? Because that's an Achilles heel for a lot of people and would have thrown them off.
I mean, it wasn't completely easy to do, but I would say, going back to the very first thing we were talking about, the confidence and the faith in the program. But not just that, like really wanting to see a change. in my behavior, really wanting to see a change in the way I looked and the way I felt. That was the biggest thing for me. I was like, I know what it feels like to eat until I can't eat anymore on Thanksgiving. I know what it feels like to drink excessively and have a really good time with all my friends. I've had these feelings. I went to college. I did all these things. I know what it feels like, but I don't know what it feels like to be super comfortable and healthy and to have lower body fat, to be more active, to have more muscle. Like, I didn't know what that felt like, and I wanted that to be my life, especially getting older. It just feels better. I wanted to feel better. I figured I only have one body, only have one shot at this, and all in, all the chips on the table. Just really wanted to be successful, so I made all those little decisions to be able to achieve the big things that I wanted to achieve.
I love that. That is so fantastic. And again, there's never going to be a perfect time. You got to jump in. The holidays are going to come every year. You got to learn how to figure it out and how to manage to work around them anyway without completely sabotaging yourself. As we like to say, enjoy, don't sabotage. And the last thing is just really deciding to commit and really resolve to making this happen. And very few people want to commit fully. I remember the first success story interview I ever did was with a client named Michael who lost, I think it was like 25 pounds, 10% body fat, got 6-pack abs, just unbelievable transformation. And similar to what you're saying, he said that, because I said, why hadn't you done this before? You wanted to do this for so long, so many years, you've always wanted to do this. And he said, one, it was confidence in the program, but two, it was, I was scared to commit fully because if I did and I failed, like, what would that say about me? I was scared that if I went all in and did all this work and all this effort, that there's a chance that I might not succeed. And gosh, I don't know if I'd be able to deal with that. Was that ever a thought in your head? Or was the confidence that you had in the program strong enough that you thought and sort of knew, if I execute, I know I'm going to get there?
I would say what helped me through that were the little wins, for sure. The little noticing of, improvements, the progress on the tonal. I don't necessarily live by the strength score, but seeing that number increase, and seeing the numbers in the scale decrease a little bit, little by little, that really made me think, okay, this is working. Maybe not this week as much as last week. Maybe next week is it going to be even worse. But as it kind of evolved and morphed, I just saw those changes. That's kind of how I pushed through that.
That's great. And as the great Peter Drucker once said, what gets measured gets managed. So we have to measure things in order to manage those results and really see success. And a lot of people will only look at the image they see in the mirror and maybe the scale. Obviously, if they have a tonal, they might be looking at their strength score, but they're not measuring enough things to really get a complete picture of everything that's going on. And if there's one takeaway people could have from this is that you need to measure lots of different things. It's weight, it's body fat, it's body measurements, it's photos, taking actual photos as opposed to just looking in the mirror. And then when you combine that with strength score and total volume and a few other things, now you have a lot of stats that you're measuring. People at home might say, that's a lot of stuff to track. But the more stuff you track, the more ways you have to win. And the more ways you have to win, the more likely it is that you're going to see some wins and some success and get excited about it. And the key to all of this is sustaining this, being consistent, keeping coming back and working out and doing more and going, because it's falling off and stopping and then trying to start again. That's what most people really struggle with. And by tracking lots of things, seeing lots of different stats, number one, it's a feedback loop where if it's not working, you know what to adjust. But two, if it is working, it's going to just motivate you and get more excited to stay with it. And it's going to help you build momentum. And momentum is what takes people through the finish line. Momentum is what keeps people going. So I love that you were paying attention to those stats, seeing those wins and building upon them and giving yourself the credit that you deserve when you do win, which is another thing that we see people struggle with, which is, they have some success or they get a win, but they move the goalposts on themselves very, very quickly, or they discount the win. And you got to make sure you give yourself that credit and acknowledge it to yourself of, My strength score did go up by 5 points. That is awesome. I am getting stronger. The weight is down a pound. Not, oh, it's just a pound. No, it's down a pound. That's 3,500 calories. That's awesome. Looking at what a pound of fat looks like, it's quite large in terms of volume. Like, that's exciting. So I love that you were doing that as well. What other sort of, I guess, breakthroughs, insights, mindset, whatever it might be, do you feel like might be interesting, relevant, or necessary for people kind of listening?
I would say just, and not to keep coming back to it, but just having the confidence in the system, and the faith in the progress. Like, just believing in yourself and believing in you and the program that you created for me. It was what made the difference to me. I think it's really like, I respected everything that you said, everything that you talked about, and it made sense to me. And that's really all it takes, is for someone that actually knows what they're talking about, not just for a certain type of person, but for me, for like exactly what I needed and what would get me to, not the finish line, but to get me to a point where I would be happier, healthier, and be able to commit. I think that's really all I can say about that. It's the biggest thing. It's really what kept me coming back.
Yeah, I mean, for so many people, confidence in that plan is what's going to determine their execution level. And if they have a good strategy and a good plan, and then they execute and they work hard, and you're a hard worker, then we can see the success and the progress. And that's where things really hockey stick. I mean, I've always been a hard worker my entire life, but when I first started my business, I didn't know how to sell. I didn't know how to market. I didn't know how to train people. So I had to learn a lot of these skills. And even after training in person for many years, switching then to online, that was a new set of skills. And I remember going 0 for my first 46 phone calls. So I got on the phone with 46 people to talk about possibly working together, and 46 said no. So I was struggling. I had the work ethic. I was working hard. I was putting in 50, 60 hours a week sometimes. I was working hard, doing lots of stuff, but I didn't have the strategy. And I certainly didn't have confidence in what I was doing. So then I ended up joining a program. And at this point, I'm $60,000 in debt. I go $70,000 in debt. I remember the exact number, $70,999.97. So I remember it exactly. That's how far in credit card debt I was, buying business coaches and programs and trying to get this business off the ground after I'd already been successful as an in-person trainer and shut down that business to go online. And it really came down to getting the right strategy. So I got good marketing strategies, good sales strategies and tactics, and I had confidence in them because the guy that was giving them to me had built a 7-figure online coaching business and had lots of success stories with lots of other people who were doing this, and it was having, it was doing well. So now I'm like, okay, I know what to do. He's giving me the plan. I just have to execute. I already have hard work. Now I have confidence too that I can do this. So then the next time I jump on the phone with somebody, even just my attitude is different. I'm a little bit more confident than I was previously. And just that little bit got at least 1 or 2 people to say yes, which then built my belief in myself, which then led me to be more confident, execute even at a higher and better rate, then get another yes and another one. And pretty soon, last year, I closed at 74%, I think, of calls. So and that comes from hard work, strategy. Then when you, again, build in belief, you become unstoppable. So that's pretty awesome and a really big takeaway. So thank you for sharing that. Next thing I want to ask, and again, I want to be respectful of your time, so not much more here, but I do want to ask, you said, I didn't know what it felt like to be lean and to feel really good about my body and be healthier. And you say you do stuff on stage, so you want to look good in front of people, but what was like the internal drive and motivation? Why did you want to do this? Why was it so important to you? And what was the thing that kept you committed through the difficult times?
So being a musician, nobody starts off good at something. Even with, if you want to call it talent, I generally call talent the desire to get better. Yes, some people naturally are more gifted in certain things, absolutely. but everybody starts bad. There's no absolute natural that comes in and just like kills something right from the start. So that was one of the things I loved about music, was getting better, was not being good to start, and opening those doorways and learning more and becoming, a better player, a better listener, even more importantly. Listening is so huge, and listening in the right way to the right musicians, the right people, the right styles, things that feel honest. You said the word belief, having a belief in what the person is doing. That's like huge for me. It's what I strive for. I trust and reach out to people that have that pioneering sort of mindset, that, like you said, go into $70,000 worth of debt and then climb out of it more knowledgeable and so much better at what they're doing. I just think that's cool. I think it's the spice of life. I think it's what keeps people going. I admire it. And I think I wanted to be that person with fitness. I wanted to be the one that, achieved that. And I'm just really happy I did. I'm just so grateful, and I feel so fortunate that I reached out to you and that you were able to put my fears aside and kind of tell me what I needed to hear at that moment to be able to really dive in and commit and make this decision to work out with you.
Fantastic. I appreciate that. And one thing you mentioned there, and this is for anyone listening out there who says, yeah, I'm not athletic, or I've never really built muscle before, or I'm too skinny, or I'm just overweight and everyone in my family's overweight. It's our genetics. That it's not complete BS. Genetics do play a role. There are factors. There are things that play into it, but you can become very good and excellent at just about anything if you apply hard work, strategy, and get good coaching in order to get that good feedback loop. So I'm not gifted and just world class at working out or coaching or speaking or any of these things. I had to apply, obviously, work ethic with strategy and got a lot of coaching along the way. So if you're out there and you're like, gosh, I'm not athletic, or I can't build muscle or anything else, you probably just haven't applied the work ethic with the right strategy and coaching. And if you do, I'm sure you can probably see tremendous success and results. That doesn't mean you are going to win the Mr. Olympia, but it means you can make a massive amount of progress and probably be in the top 5% of everybody out there just by doing those things. I remember one time when I was a kid, I hated public speaking. I was so terrified. I didn't like getting up on stage, talking in front of people, any of those things. I was very introverted. I was just like completely scared. I would never do well in presentations. So doing this even is a big step for me, and a very, very, it's like the Grand Canyon from where I was when I was in even high school or college. And I remember when I was working at Tonal once, I was in the Tonal studio. I just finished doing a workout on stage, and I was about to leave, and I had to film a very quick like Facebook kind of promo video for one of my programs. And I asked one of the camera guys there, he was a camera guy, but he was also an actor, trying an aspiring actor, because we were in LA. And I said, hey, do you mind holding the camera for a second? I'm going to give you my phone. I just need to film this really quick promo video. And he said, no problem. I give him the camera, and he hits the button to record, and I rip off 2 minutes straight without saying and without any verbal tics or anything. Just 2 straight minutes of me promoting this new workout or program that was coming out, and signing off my tagline and saying, thanks for that, and it's coming out here. And then he hits the off button, and he goes, as an actor, wow, that was quite impressive. He's like, you're a natural at that. I was like, excuse me? He's like, you're a natural. And I said, I appreciate the compliment. Thank you. Like, it's a lot of hard work to get there, but I am not a natural at that. I was like, I was shy, introverted. I was horrible at presenting. This is not natural. This is me doing 100 days straight of Facebook Lives at one point to go from being absolutely terrified and horrible to being like kind of mediocre at being in front of the camera. Then, I mean, this is like the 95th success story interview I filmed with people. So I got 94 of these under my belt that I've done previously. I've done podcasts. I've done coaching with people who've worked with Tony Horton. I've worked with Tony Horton. Like all of that combined, hundreds and thousands of hours, thousands of dollars in coaching, feedback loop, reviewing my stuff. So yeah, now I'm pretty decent at it, but it's not because I'm a natural. I didn't come out of the womb doing this. It wasn't something I was just born or gifted with. It was something that was very intentional, strategic, a lot of hard work and dedication. And now, hey, I'm not so bad at this. So I love that you mentioned that. Again, I want to be respectful, but one or two last questions here. I guess for anyone sitting out there at home who's thinking, is this worth it? You know, what are some of the benefits here? And now that you're on the other side, has this been worth it?
I mean, without a doubt, it's absolutely been worth it. I can say that not just, you know, visually, physically, my blood pressure's gone down, my resting heart rate's gone down, problems that I thought that I had, because I just thought they were genetically part of who I was, were not. It was just a result of poor food choices and a lethargic lifestyle. Not to say I was the type of person beforehand that was just laying on the couch eating all day, but I did make a lot of bad choices over a long period of time. I've always loved moving around. I've always loved hiking. I've always loved playing sports. I've loved all that stuff. Not very good at those things, but I did my best, and definitely more music sided when it comes to that stuff. But I always loved doing them, and it just feels like now I've unlocked this whole other door of possibilities. Not just feeling better, but actually like being better, being healthier. So you can't buy that, you know. I mean, you just can't. So to be able to have those experiences and to be able to be where I'm at, absolutely worth it. I would recommend it to anybody that has the desire to lose some weight, become healthier, look healthier, and enjoy life a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my clients, Tyler Erb, did an interview with me early on in my kind of coaching career as well. He got a six pack. He still actually works with me today. He's been with me for like 8 years now. And in the interview, he said, one thing money can't buy. He's like, it cannot buy you the confidence, how you feel. It can't buy you that health that you have when you push your body, when you work out, when you're eating healthily, combining those things together. He's like, I just feel like I have an extra gear all the time. He's like, I feel like I'm on fire. He's like, and that's why I do this. So that's a great point to sort of leave off on. Any final words for people out there at home who are thinking, gosh, Mike's amazing, but that's Mike. What about me? How do I get started? So if somebody's out there saying, how do I get started, Mike? What do I do? How do I get out of my rut and get to the point where you're at? Any final words for them?
I would say just, you know, take it step by step, and little steps are so much more important than trying to just bite off more than you can chew. Excuse me, bite off more than you can chew. It's that was the thing that really got me going more than anything, was just taking it step by step. They say like it takes 10,000 hours to master something or whatever. I've been playing music for probably 30 or 40,000 hours. I'm nowhere near a master. It's just something that I enjoy. I enjoy getting better at. And I think I just applied that mindset to working out, to saying, okay, no, I'm not going to, like you said, be Mr. Olympia. That's not in my wheelhouse or any sort of possibility for me. But, you know, getting better, feeling better is and was. And I'm just super glad I did it.
Fantastic. Well, I love it. I appreciate you. I've worked out for probably 30,000 plus hours, and I'm not a master either. I'm still working on it myself and can always improve. So we're in the same boat there. Thank you for doing this. I just want to acknowledge you for all the hard work, for trusting me, investing in yourself. Like, I just have the best freaking job in the world. love my clients so much. I'm so grateful that you're here. I get emotional when I do these videos because I look at these numbers: 31 pounds, 7% body fat, 6 inches off the waist. I see your photos. I get jacked up and excited seeing that. I'm so glad that you joined me today to share your story. I know it inspired somebody out there. So thank you for doing this. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for working with me. And thank you for being an inspiration to so many people out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Couldn't have done it literally without you. And I appreciate it every single day.
All right. Well, you heard the man. Take action. That's the difference between dreaming and succeeding.